Hey guys, I am so excited about today's video because for one specific reason, we have hit the trifecta. I have been so excited to do our fantasy bingo. I have been so excited to do the horror bingo, and now we have romantasy. This was done by Covers with Cassidy. I will link her video down below, but I have 3 genres that I gravitate to. They are sci-fi fantasy, horror, and romantasy. And now we have all 3. I'm so very excited. I have my computer pulled up over here because a lot of these I have only heard things about and put them on the TBR for that reason. Some of these I own, some of these I don't. But I also want to point out something. This is the 3rd bingo board that I am going to be uploading this year. Now, when I start thinking about what I want to read for the end of the year, obviously my 25 to read in 2025 crops up. However, at the start of the year, I really put together this TBR that I thought I wanted to read at that time. And I'm a mood reader. So a lot of that has changed for me. And I'm no longer interested in reading those books. However, with these bingo boards, it is a mood thing. It is something that I can look at and say, what am I in the mood for? And I love the bingo boards for that reason in particular. Now for this one, I again have my prompts and my sheet that I have put together. So I'm very excited to delve into that. And like I said, I have my computer pulled up because a lot of these I've just heard about and haven't really delved into that deeply because I'm still a baby romantasy reader. I don't delve into it like Cassidy does or Mel. I don't fill my TBR with romantasy a lot of the times, but I do really enjoy it. So I will have to look up synopses for some of these. Okay, let's start with our first square, which is new release. Now, this is a very new release. So new, in fact, that I don't have the book in my hands yet. And that is The Things Gods Break by Abigail Owen. This is the 2nd book to The Games Gods Play. I really loved the first book. The trials were so good. It was brutal. And I really like things revolving around the Greek gods anyway. And so having Hades pick a champion to run the gauntlet, so to speak, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really enjoyed the book overall, and I'm excited to get to the 2nd one. Okay, 2nd square on the board is Hidden Identity. And for that, I chose The Veiled Kingdom. I'm actually going with somebody else's recommendation for this because I know nothing about this. I do know that there have been a lot of people who really loved this book, but then didn't like the follow-up book. So I'm a little iffy about this one, but I do want to read it because I've heard very good things about it. A scorching new fantasy romance that ignites the pages with relentless danger, forbidden passion, and the intoxicating allure of enemies to lovers. Fleeing my father's cruelty, the wicked king who robbed me of a future, I face death in the streets, caught between a rebellion and a tyrant's reign. So I'm only going based off of what I've heard that this has a hidden identity within the story, and I'm assuming that it is her. Oh, so the next line in the synopsis says, captured by those sworn to kill me, the rebels remain blind to my true identity. So yes, we have hidden identity for this one. Now, this got nominated for Romantasy, Favorite Romantasy on the Goodreads Choice Award in 2024. So I could like it. I could not. I don't know. I know that it has, some people have loved it. Some people have hated it. But romantasy is just as much of a toss-up as horror because you go into it with expectations. You go into it with your own mindset and what a romance should be. And so I do think that there is some push and pull with that in romantasy, just like with horror. Next is Take Down the System, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Broken Dove by Dani Francis. I loved Silver Elite so much. Dystopian romantasy, I didn't know that that was a thing that I needed, but apparently I do because, hello. And the relationship in Silver Elite was top-notch. The banter, the way that the main male character was just so aggressive at times. I really like that. I know that will be an issue for some people and some people won't like it because of that, but Silver Elite was top notch. I absolutely loved it. Next is a BIPOC author, and I am surprised I don't own this book yet because I loved the first one so much. Not yet published, November 4th. I'm very excited. Eternal Ruin by Tejas Gurma. I am so excited. I loved Immortal Dark. And it was kind of like a throwback to the vampire stories I loved before. Vampire Academy is what comes to mind. This feels like a little bit more grown-up Vampire Academy. And I'm going to have to reread Immortal Dark because it has been quite a while since I read it. But I am so excited for book 2. I have been dying to get my hands on this. I don't know why it has taken so long to release the second book, but I ate it up. I ate up Immortal Dark so much. It was so good. Very dark. So if you don't like darker stories in your romantasy, maybe not this one, but I really, really enjoyed it. It currently has a 4.51, so it looks like ARC readers are really liking it. Okay, so for this next one, I had to Google it, first person. Because like I said, I am not like a huge romantasy reader, so I have no idea what a lot of these books will entail once I get into them. So I did look it up, and it said that this book was written in first person, and I'm kind of excited for it because it hit my radar a couple of months ago. I don't remember who was talking about it or how I found it, if it was just like a Goodreads recommendation based on what I had read before. And The Wolf King by, now I'm gonna mispronounce this last name, Lauren Palfreman, something like that. I will obviously have the image on the screen so you guys can see the last name. But this is a werewolf, enemies to lovers. I'm kind of excited about that. It says, when a princess is kidnapped by an alpha, war rages between the humans and the wolves, but soon forbidden attraction starts to grow. Princess Aurora longs to escape the castle and marriage that has been arranged for her, but on the night before her wedding, at a dogfight where captured werewolves are made to fight for sport, she spares the life of a young wolf. It puts her on the radar of the powerful alpha who was going to kill him. And it changes everything. So I maybe look up trigger warnings for this. I don't know, because that does sound like it could be quite brutal. I do like grimdark. So that is, grimdark and horror is where my love lies. And so I'm not put off to the darker elements of some of the romantasy. I don't read dark romance. And basically I can't get behind a lot of the relationships in dark romance. I did like Lights Out, but like, that was actually kind of cute, even though it involved a stalker. Anyway, that's beside the point. I have a tendency to ramble sometimes. The Wolf King sounds really good. Also, I really love this cover. I don't know what it is about the cover, but I kind of just want to own the book and display it because of that. So I hope I love it. I do not own this, like I said. This also has a 4.14 rating on Goodreads, with almost 10,000 reviews. So, and I think I could like this. I think I could like this. Okay, next is Blank of Blank, and this is a book that I own that is Shield of Sparrows. Now, I've seen quite a few people read this, and I know Devney Perry is a very popular romance author. I've never read anything by them, but as far as like contemporary romance goes, they're probably pretty high up there as far as like favorites of the genre. Now, Shield of Sparrows has a 4.41 rating on Goodreads, and I've actually heard mixed things about it. So I'm very excited to see where I'm going to stand. This does say perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros. I don't look at that really because everything's Game of Thrones. It's no different for romantasy. Enemies become lovers, monsters stalk a cursed realm, and a forgotten princess finds the strength to tear off her crown and become the warrior she was never meant to be. That does sound great. That does sound great. I'm so excited. So, like I said, this is one that I do own and I have been very excited to get to. The book is beautiful. You'll see the cover, but it's so beautiful. It doesn't do it justice seeing it on screen though. And I am a huge fan of enemies to lovers. I don't really like friends to lovers very much. I don't feel like the romance has enough tension for me. And so a lot of these will be enemies to lovers, but I also really love royalty and hidden royalty of that. So a lot of those might fall into these tropes as well. Okay, next is Indie, Too Traditionally Pubbed Pipeline. And I have to put Heat of the Everflame here. I have read the first two, absolutely loved them. This is probably at the moment my favorite romantasy. I think that the first book is a little unassuming, but I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people give it 3.5 stars. I was not one of them. I landed at a solid 4-star for the first book, but the second book was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. So I'm so excited to get to Heat of the Everflame. I do have a pre-order of the paperback because I own all of them in the deluxe paperbacks and I needed them to match. I do actually need to send off the first book to one of my friends because I annotated it and we're supposed to be doing a thing with that. I am the most forgetful person sometimes, and I'm looking at it. It's sitting right here and I still have not done that yet. But this one is about a girl who, again, you could use hidden identity for this one. I don't think you can use it for Heat of the Everflame. I think it's kind of been revealed who she is, but Spark of the Everflame could count. Anyway, this is about a girl who is a healer and she's told that she cannot go to the place where the children of the god, I forgot what they're called, children of the gods live because her identity might be revealed. She doesn't really know that that's the case, but you learn early on that that is why. And I absolutely love it. Moving on to the third book. Very, very excited. Very, very excited to finish out this series. Okay, the next square is Rep Matters. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, but I'm not trying to hit hard mode with what I have picked. However, a lot of these do hit hard mode. This is not one of them. And I think that is because it needed to be by an owned voice and the author in this one is female, but it's about a gay couple. So I think that's where the division is for hard mode in this. Rep Matters, I picked A Taste of Gold and Iron. I've heard very, very good things about this. This is one that I do own. It's somewhere in the stacks over there. I don't know where, but it's over there somewhere. I've heard very good things about this. Now, the one thing that throws me is the Goblin Emperor is one of the comps. And I did not like that book at all. Now, with this being focused on romance, I do think I could like it more because I do like character-driven romance. That is the only time I like character-driven books. I do like Robin Hobb, and there are a few exceptions, but rarely do I like character-driven things. Romance, that's different. Now, this is also one that I have heard could be comped to Foz Meadows. Like, it's dark fantasy, but there happens to be a romance at the heart of it. All the Hidden Paths is the second book. For some reason, the first book's not coming up in my brain, and I will insert a picture of it so you guys know which one I'm talking about. But there is dark fantasy throughout this story and a romance to go alongside it, which I absolutely loved in that series by Foz Meadows. It's one of my favorite romantasies, and I think that is just my grimdark heart and reading Romantasy. Like, I think that's just the two colliding and it creates something that I really love. Well, I didn't, Foz did, but I'm hoping for the same from A Taste of Gold and Iron. Okay, this next one is kind of up for debate. I don't know if this is the book I'm going to keep here because I do also have Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. And I do want to insert that here because it is a series, but this is Start a New Series. And so I picked one of the books that I own on audiobook, and I have A Game of Veils. This also came up in my last Patreon pick, and it didn't get the votes. So I do want to read it, but I'm also a little scared of Eva Chase because she is slow, character-driven, very, very much not plot-driven. But I've heard A Game of Veils is set around trials. So I'm hoping the trials aspect of this book will keep me on board. If not, then I will probably put Court of the Vampire Queen here and read that instead. However, I do have A Game of Veils. I do want to read it. And I'm hoping, even though Eva Chase doesn't sound like the author for me, this will change my mind. Next is urban setting, and there are so many I could have picked for this, but I really want to read Soul Searching by Lila Sage. Yes, Lila Sage. She wrote the cowboy romance that I can't think of the name of, Done and Dusted. And I had put Done and Dusted on my TBR because I want to read Lila Sage. I've heard that she's an excellent author. I'm not really interested in the whole cowboy aspect of Lila Sage's books because I live in Oklahoma. So, that cowboys don't really care. But this one is small town and it's paranormal. So I'm very, very intrigued. I do love a good paranormal romance. I grew up on paranormal romance. And so this one sounds a whole lot more up my alley. And I'm not sure that this is paranormal romance in the fact that one of the characters is a paranormal being. I know that it's set in a kind of like a town full of ghosts. So I'm leaning on that aspect of the story to put it here, but I do know that it does have fantastical elements, which makes it a romantasy in its own right, but leaning on the paranormal side of that. Ghosts and ghouls. Now, Cassidy said when she created this that she totally meant for this to be spirits, demons, otherworldly creatures, not anything like vampiric that could be considered a demon, but really isn't a demon. That's a different kind of monster in her book. So she said that it needed to be ghosts, demons, etc., that realm. And I put Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Now, if you guys have been around for a while, you will know I absolutely loved Kingdom of the Wicked. And I absolutely love the characters in Kingdom of the Wicked. I know who Throne of the Fallen is based on and like what character is going to be featured in this series, and I'm very excited. And so I need to put this on the TBR because one of my friends purchased it for me as a gift a long time ago, and I just never got around to reading it. It is sitting on my shelves. I can see it. And she even got me like the special edition version of it. I think it's like a Barnes & Noble edition or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But I need to get this on the TBR. I need to read this one so much. I love Carrie Maniscalco's writing. She's very quick with her plots and she is very engaging in the way she writes. So I want to get this on there. And I'm considering the main character a demon. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but if you've read the series, you know. If you've read Kingdom of the Wicked, you know. And so he's a demon. We're just going to leave it at that. Hey, Editing Trinity here. So I messed up. I accidentally flip-flopped 2 books in my head, and I put Brimstone by Callie Hart in here, realizing a little late that this did not fit this trope, but I was thinking about the second book of Direbound, which will be Furybound, I think is the name of it. There's no cover for it. There's no actual release date for it yet, but it's set to be released in 2026. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that that will actually be released in time for it to make this. If not, I will find a different trope. We all know I'm pretty much giving up on Fourth Wing, but if I have to squeeze the 4th book of Fourth Wing in here, I will do that as well. Or I will see if I can find another book to fit in here. But the second book to Direbound, Furybound, I believe is what it's called, is going to be in this slot, not Brimstone by Callie Hart. But do not fret, I still plan to read Brimstone very soon. I do need to reread Quicksilver, and then I will jump into that. But yeah, I messed the 2 up in my brain. That happens with ADHD. It happens with a lot of things with ADHD. Back to the video. Next is a friend rec, and hard mode is Cassidy recommended this book. Now here's the thing. There are a couple that I have been teetering back and forth on. I have no idea what I want to read for this square. Cassidy recommended so many, even in her initial video, that I'm like, I don't know. And Reign of Shadows and Endings is one of her recent favorites, and I think I want to add that book, but my problem is that it is a secondary series to a series I have not read yet, and I do want to read that series. However, I don't remember her recommending Lady of Darkness, so I do own that one. And so there's a couple of things that I could put in here. Reign of Shadows and Endings, Lady of Darkness, I don't know how I would get that on here because it's not really a friend rec. I actually put in this square is Empire of Flame and Thorns by Marion Blackwood. This also has a very, very high rating on Goodreads, a 4.02. A Fae Rebel, a ruthless dragon commander, and a deadly trial that will turn their lives upside down. I don't need more than that. Fae, ruthless dragon shifting commander, deadly trials. I mean, that's kind of all I need. So I do think there's a good chance Empire of Flame and Thorns will stay, but I don't know anything about it other than what I just read to you and that Cassidy really enjoys it. So I don't know. I also really don't like these covers. And I am such a cover girly. I am such a Pretty covers will always have my attention. But this one actually sounds really good. And I've never read a dragon shifter story before. So I do think this could be really, really good. Or different. At least different enough that my brain is like tickled by it. Next is Book Talk Hype. And listen, when I say I am a romantasy newbie, I just read A Court of Thorns and Roses like last month. I never picked up Sarah J. Maas before this. I've read Throne of Glass, but that was it. And no, rewind. Sorry. I read Throne of Glass and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like anything great. And so I was like, I don't get it. And then her new books came out, Crescent City. I read the first one and I was like, I don't get it. I don't get the hype. But I read A Court of Thorns and Roses. Guys, I still don't get the Sarah J. Maas hype. I really don't. But I've heard from all of my friends, from everybody who loves Sarah J. Maas, that it starts with Akamath. And so I'm putting A Court of Mist and Fury on my TBR. Book Talk hype. I mean, Sarah J. Maas is all over Book Talk, all over YouTube, especially in the romantasy sphere. I am excited about this, but also have not liked any Sarah J. Maas as much as I hoped. So maybe it's the overhype that does it to me, because there are certain things, if you tell me a book is amazing and then I read it and it's okay, I tend to not want to read anything else by that author. And that's just a me thing. But I do need to read the rest of this series. I definitely do. Okay, the next one is Forbidden Romance. And again, I had to look it up. I had to Google it. But I found one that I'm very excited for. And it's White Horse Black Knights, God-Kissed Bride. I've never heard anybody talk about this. But whenever I was looking at Forbidden Romance, of course, enemies to lovers, I found this one and it sounded really good. Also, I really love the cover. Again, I am a sucker for a good cover. We still worship the sleeping fae, though their magic only remains within a few of us. Locked away for 12 years, Sabine Darrow's only friends are the animals she communicates with using magic. Now sold as a bride to the villainous High Lord, her greatest fear is trading one prison for another, but a potential escape lies in the form of her gruff yet achingly handsome guard, whose loyalty she is determined to break. That's all I need. That is all I need. So immediately I started reading on in the synopsis, and immediately my brain went Snow White and the Huntsman. Yep, that's the comp that it's giving. And now I'm even more excited. But it says, drawing inspiration from Snow White and the Lady Godiva legend, White Horse Black Knights is a dark enemies to lovers fantasy romance that will take you on a journey you'll never forget. So cool. Again, it's one I've never heard of, but sounds very much up my alley. What more is there to say? Trials. Okay, listen, there are so many of these I've already talked about that could fit here, but when I saw Trials just spelled out for me, obviously I wanted to read Trial of the Sun Queen, because that again was on a list of options I gave my Patreon to pick from that I already own. I own this on audiobook, but I have been very excited to get to it. Trials is something I eat up. I love Trials. I know nothing other than there are trials in this book. Like the tagline is 10 women, a deadly contest, only one can win the Sun King's heart. Lore has endured 12 long years of torment under the Aurora King's rule. Her only desire is to escape and pay him back for every moment of misery she's endured. When a surprise release finds her in the hands of the rival Sun King, Lore must thrust into the spotlight as she competes against 9 other tributes for the role of queen. If she wins his heart, she'll earn her freedom and finally get her revenge. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Okay, 2+ love interests. So let's just address the elephant in the room, shall we? I have not read Broken Bonds by Jay Bree. I haven't. So this kind of just gives me the push to read it. I love a polyamorous story, but I have yet to find one that has been published that I love. I have written one and it's pretty popular, but I can't find one that I like to read. So I am hoping that this will give me what I'm looking for. I've heard Silver Under Nightfall does a really great job, but I haven't read that yet. It's on my 25 to read in 2025 and I still haven't done it. But I'm looking forward to this. The Why Choose is not something I've delved into, and this seems to be one of the most popular Why Choose out there, reverse harem, whatever you want to call it. And yeah. So Broken Bonds is here. POV again, I had to Google, and I'm going with an author that I've actually read from before. I'm going to read Pestilence by Laura Thalassia. Thalassa? I don't know how that came out of my mouth that way, but anyway, this is about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and I have read Rhapsodic. I believe that is the other one that she wrote, and I kind of liked it, but it didn't really grab me. However, I have kind of a thing for the 4 horsemen, and not to delve into my past, but I've written a book about the 4 horsemen, and I tucked it away to never see the light of day. But so I do have an affinity for the 4 horsemen, and I really want to get into these. I've heard mixed things about the entire series, but I've heard mixed things about the Rhapsodic series, whatever that series is called. I can't remember, but I really, really want to read these, and I've put it off and put it off. So let's go ahead and do that. I have nothing else to say other than that. Next is court setting. And let me be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if this fits court setting or not, but I put it on here knowing that I could kind of flip flop a couple of these if I need to fit the prompt given. And I put Glint by Raven Kennedy because I just read Guild. Did I love Guild? No, I did not. But I could see promise in the series. I want to know what happens next. I want to know about this slow burn romance everyone talks about. The ending was kind of explosive in Guild, so I just want to know. I want to know if I need to continue on with this series. Should I purchase it? Who knows? It is a very long series, so I'm pretty excited to finally get into a series that is longer. There are some I've avoided because they're long, but I might have myself a good old time and a lot of books to come. So that's why I put this here, but I don't know. The first one was very much court politics. I don't know if the second one is going to be. A Whole New World, Cassidy. I don't like Portal Fantasy. But I have heard so many people talk about Bonded by Thorns. So many people have talked about this, and I'm very excited to read it. Knowing it's Portal Fantasy, though, I'm a little less excited. This is one of those things that the believability of the Portal Fantasy has to work for me. If it's not believable, I don't care. I won't trust the magic system, and it's fine. It's fine. But this is a book I've had on my radar for quite some time. So we'll see if I like it or not. We'll see if Portal Fantasy can actually work for me. Next is Reluctant Allies to Lovers. And here's the thing. I know this fits hard mode. I've put this book off again because I don't know if I'm going to like it because the main male character thinks the female main character is ugly. And I don't know how I feel about that. But this is a very, very lauded series by those who have read it. And so I'm putting Radiance by Grace Draven on here. I know that this is kind of underhyped. Not a lot of people talk about it. There are a few booktubers I know that are like devoted to this series, but it's still one of those that doesn't hit everyone's radar. And I think that's why, because the main male character thinks the female main character is ugly and they are in a marriage of convenience, which I do believe is the hard mode for this. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that certain aspect of this book, but I'm going to try it. Next is a one-word title. If you know anything about me, you know Gothic horror is my sweet spot. I absolutely love the Gothic genre as a whole. Gothic romance, Gothic horror, Gothic literature, all of it. Rebecca, one of my favorite books of all time. So I have been hearing about Anathema, and I have been hearing about Carrie Lake. So I've been very, very excited to pick these up, but they are chunky. And I'm very aware of the tropes of Gothic literature, and slow is what I know. I'm usually put off by slow. However, with a Gothic romance, I can give it a little bit of leeway. If I know the Gothic elements are coming, and I have been told that they are, and they are done absolutely to perfection, I think I will like it. I do think it's one that I'm scared of. I almost put Alchemized on here, and then I was like, I don't want to put a 1,000-page book on here. But yeah, I do think that I could really, really enjoy Anathema. Next is Shifter Romance, and I couldn't not put this book on here. Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I will be reading it very, very soon. I am waiting until November 1st so that it will qualify for this bingo board, but I'm so excited. I love Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood is one of those romance authors that I will buy everything. I say that I will buy everything. Currently, I'm having the issue of all of the books I own by her in hardback. So I don't own Deep End or Problematic Summer Romance because they only were released in hardback or in paperback. So I want a hardback version of those. But May is, I'm just one of the most anticipated reads of the year for me because I love Bride so much. I have read Bride like 4 times. I absolutely love Ali Hazelwood's writing. It's very fan fiction-y in the fact that she doesn't take herself too seriously. And even though her books have some deeper elements in them, they're almost always funny. So there's that. Weapon on the cover. Again, I do think this hits hard mode, but I don't remember what hard mode is. The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, there is an arrow on the cover. I need to continue on with this series. I recently bought this book, and I have loved The Crowns of Nyaxia. I have loved Carissa Broadbent. She's kind of like the goat of romantasy for me, and I need to continue on with her books, though. I read the first duology. I have read, I can never remember the name of it, Conquering the Vampire Prince or something like that. I have read Six Scorched Roses. I read a lot. And I've also read the first book of her other series, Daughter of No Worlds, but I haven't continued on. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I hype myself up and then I'm like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't like it? I have that issue sometimes. But I have been looking forward to continuing on in this series for quite some time. What put me off to this one was that I was told there was a whiny main character. I have since learned that that is trauma related, so I don't think it's going to be such an issue for me in that regard, but here we are. Lastly, a chunky series. So I am on a Crown This Cold and Heavy by Stasia Stark. I have been reading this series over the last year and really enjoy it. So I'm excited to get to this one. It is book 3 of the Kingdom of Lies series. And I should have probably already read this by now because I really, really enjoyed the second book, but it's starting to fade a little bit. But I really love these 2 main characters. I've really loved the whole setup of this series. And this is one of them that if the glint doesn't work out, I can shift the 2 because Glint is part of a long series and A Crown This Cold and Heavy is definitely court intrigue. So if I need to shift those 2 around, I will. I hadn't thought of A Crown This Cold and Heavy until we got to the last square. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to read that. But this again is one that I have loved so much so far. And I need to continue. That is it for this video. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!